Hey, hello, welcome back. We have talked about a lot regarding this organization chart. Let me remind you, organization design, and then organization structure, and then we simplify this to this organization chart. There are several alternatives. Okay, so the first one is the functional design, or they call this unitary U form. Straightforward, simple. And then I have to say this is very common. All right, once you join a company, you will see the structure. They call this based on this functional department, right? So you will have like operation, you will have marketing, you will have accounting, you will have IT, IM, right? You will have HR. There are pros and cons. Okay, so first of all, this is a simple, very straightforward. And then the second one is we call this conglomerate design. In the textbook, it didn't show anything regarding the hybrid form, right? It's called the H form. And I have to say, the H form is quite, special. They put different product lines. The young brands, the corporate level, they have like the CEO, different HRO, right? So different officers. And then they also have the CEOs for different, restaurant brand, right? Like a Pizza Hut. The difference why we call hybrid, because they have the product lines. On the corporate level, they also shared other supporting functions. Remember, we have mentioned about the staff manager positions, managerial positions. They share the HR department. They share the accounting finance department. All right, a Samsung example. I checked that the Samsung, you will see they have like the semiconductor, right? And then they have like those smartphones, and then they have those appliances. Under the same roof, they have diverse products. All right, it's easy to understand. Also, pro and cons. Centralized, right? They have like a centralized authority. The CEOs control everything. But also, you will see that the cons, right? Because they have all the shared those supporting department become a little bit bureaucratic. Personally, I would more prefer this is multi-divisional design. So M stands for multi-division. So this is very popular for the multinational organization or multinational companies. My previous company, I have mentioned to you, it's a Metro Group. They have different business units. They belong to one company, but those business units, I have to say, I work for cash and carry. All right. I don't know anyone from other company. We don't product lines and the business unit, they're different. Business unit as a unit, we operate independently. Okay. So the good thing is decentralized, right? We make our own business decision. We have our own financial report. It's easy to assess our performance. Since those business units, you can treat them as this, separate or individual companies. You can sell. So my previous company has sold the VR. They sold this department stores, and then they sell the Chinese division of Metro Cash and Carry. We call this, the SBU. We call this SBU the strategic business unit. But we will also mention about when we talk about planning, strategic planning, we have different level planning. The very last one, I think it's even, in my opinion, it is even better. Or I have to say, like for those big companies, we all use so-called this matrix design. This is more like this cross-functional project. We have a project manager, and then we lead a temporary project team. And I was a project manager for the delivery. It has to be, involve different departments. So this is why this is the structure. In general, all right, I would say all companies we adapted this matrix design. Why? Every company we have different projects, right? Once we defined the strategy, and then we needed to set up the project team. The project team members from all other departments, temporary, all right, but they belong to their own department. There are also like pros and cons. As you can see, for different departments, they bring their specialties, they bring their expertise, right? And then it's we can focus on some very complex, right? Very, let's say new, like a delivery 10 years ago, 12 years ago, it was very, very new. concept. And then also we have those information so we can share. I mean, it brings information from all other departments. And then also it is like a, share the resource, not only human. Also, I can hold this, let's say that the financial capital, somehow the money, but the resource not only, not only the financial resource we measure, but the human resource, the time. You ask people to join you, you also need to construction, right? So they also bring their resource to us, like the supplier construction team. There will be like this temporary team here that's very flexible. I don't think this is a good thing. Let me tell you, project usually later on, if you join a company, they ask you to, let's say, to have to join a project or responsible for a project. Keep it in mind that this is very important. It's a good chance if you show your performance, show your ability, you get the potential, my promotion all based upon projects. And then this is somehow, I think we needed to change the mindset. I don't think it's something very challenging. It is challenging, but you will see more positive things, positive outcomes from leading a project. The cons is a short list, right? The pro is a long list. What does that mean? Actually, con is more serious than the pros. Pay attention to this cons, the weakness. I would say that's the conflicts, ton of the conflicts. Why? Your team member, not officially, formally belong to you. They belong to their own department. If there's any time conflicts, responsibility conflicts, needless to say, who pay their money, who do their annual performance appraisal, it's very difficult to balance that, all right? And then because they have the team member, they have their own boss. I think for other contemporary design alternatives, I have to say it all existing, but this is less popular, less common. As we just discussed, we have the so-called the multi-divisional, right? The M form, multi-divisional form, right? For the multinational company, big companies, right? So they it's called the global design. The same organic design. I simply call this is a system for design. There will be like one design, right? So new venture unit. This is very interesting. A new venture interest is skunk work. I would think this is only for Lockheed Martin. What does that mean? Like a special task force, right? And then they are not belong to their original department anymore. They just group it together formally, okay? They report to the project manager. The project manager directly reported to one of the officers. They also have the strategic, the research development partnership. Just group those people together, or let's say that share this responsibility. This high involvement organization is, I just mentioned, it's M for Matrix Design Plus. Why Matrix Design Plus? They just group them together, all right? A special task force together. The front end, the back end, it's just like put the sales team together with the operation team. This is very common in like those retail or wholesale company or consumer goods, consumer, product companies. Why? Sales team and the production team or the operation team get together, they can quickly collect information from the environment and then make this operation plan or production plan. And then the very last one is we call this network organization, right? So simply speaking, this is a very special organization. Also, we use more positive word like a value-added partnership, right? But it seems to me they only keep the core department in the company, and then they outsource other department, supporting department. For example, they can outsource accounting, they can outsource HR, and then they can also outsource those call center, reduce the cost. So there is a movie, but I think I attached that in Canvas. Take a look, very interesting. There are two keywords, all right, for this very short video. One is how project assigned, okay? The second is, all right, how companies outsource their functions. you probably have you noticed that there are many different organization design alternatives. I mean, don't worry. So those are like all possible, but you will see. I would say the only one, the most important one is the matrix design. I assigned the assignment, ask you to do a quick research regarding the organization chart. Let you know that how the company organized. The very last one, we talk about the H form, M form. We see the H form and the M form, it's more like spending, right? The spending, we call this horizontal growth. What does that mean? The company can grow or add different product lines if this is H form, or the company can add strategic business unit, SBUs, right? So they can add more like it. And then in addition, they can also extend it to different countries. Give you the quick example, Costco, during the pandemic, they start the operation in China. I don't know whether it's a good idea or bad idea, good strategy or bad strategy. Vertical growth, the company want to increase their market, let's say share, right, dominate the market. So they go upstream, they go downstream, right? They purchase other companies, right? So they can purchase the producer, manufacturers. They can also purchase the restaurant, the outlet, right? So a good example, let me tell you, you learn like this Amazon, they purchase a Whole Foods. The very last, let's say that the section, we talk about the corporate culture. So actually we have mentioned about corporate culture. I call this like an intangible. We have set up our values, our visions, right? And then the company has the history. So this is more like it defines, let's say, corporate culture. But corporate culture, you might ask why you mentioned it here. Let me tell you, we have the formal organization structure, and then we have the informal organization structure. You can treat this as the informal one. All right. So although the company, you can see the organization chart, but the organization chart cannot tell you about the corporate culture, employee-oriented or customer-oriented, right? Or this is, you remember we talk about the system 1 to system 4. It is very different. Once we talk about the corporate culture, we have to feel, right? Although we can share, but it is not that easy to describe. I would say we needed to feel, observe, and then feel. Keep that in mind. If a company, they're doing well on that, and then they don't need it to name the employee as the associates. Name differently. It sounds good, but this is not, the culture is not only by how you call the employee, right? It depends on how they treat the employee. Organization chart and then the culture, they're combined together. This is why I show you a real design, a real formula for the corporation organization design.